We're a little bit late. And we're live! Hello everybody, how's it going? Hey. Welcome to Mike and Lauren Live. This is our third week, our third episode, and we are happy to have our friends Ryan and Alex here. Last week we talked about life with Mike and all the businesses that I've kind of started over the past 10 to 15 years. And you're looking at the two people who did a lot of those with me, and a lot of the inspiration and a lot of the fun. So first things first, what were we gonna open with, Lauren?
How we know Ryan and Alex.
Yes. So we know Ryan. You actually have known Ryan and Alex longer than I have, right?
Yep. I know Ryan. How long have I known you?
Just
longer
as
than
long.
Mike?
Yeah, just as.
So you guys have known each other
Ryan
16
and
years?
I know each other the longest.
Which is what, 22 years?
20-something years.
And Ryan and I know each other for coming up on 15 years, so we're definitely well acquainted with each other. So what we want to talk about today is going into business together. So we've been very entrepreneurial, if that's the right way of saying that.
It's close.
It's close, definitely. And so a lot of you had questions last week of how do we mix friends with business? So that's what we're talking about this week. What are some of the things that we've done right? What are some of the things that we've done wrong? We've done a lot of the things wrong. Many. So this should be interesting. If you guys are watching live, to the right of your preview screen, there's a little chat room. So go ahead and leave your questions there. We're happy to have you on. And that's what makes this fun, is the interactive element. So as we're talking, leave some comments. We're about 27 seconds behind you, so ahead of you. So
it wouldn't make any sense.
That doesn't make any sense. Either way, there's going to be a little bit of a delay, but we'll get to your questions. So let's get started.
Wait, real quick though. Cody B says you're missing 9 people because you said we had 11 friends here.
Yes, there are actually 13 people. Oh, we're live from New York. We didn't even mention it.
Yeah, we don't live here.
No.
We just walked into.
We just flew into New York City.
Yes, so we are here for a conference with work, and there are 13 people staying in this New York apartment. So they all went to dinner, and we're gonna go meet up with them in a little bit. So that is why we're missing 9 people.
1 bathroom.
There's 1 bathroom. There's 3 bedroom, 1 bathroom. So we're gonna be using Starbucks quite a bit. So first business that we got into together, like we talked about last week, was the cleaning company. It was definitely one of the most lucrative. I don't know if you were watching. I know he wasn't actually, because he said
I forgot. I was really excited, and I
completely forgot.
I never logged on.
But
I watched the previous week one.
So anyway, I shared the numbers that we had a $24,000 a month contract at 18 years old.
Yes.
Cleaning. And what happened there? How did that?
I mean, basically, we got lucky, and a lot of people that live in West Palm are not the smartest, in my opinion, to give us such a contract. And once we got it, we actually bid it at $12,000, and then 2 weeks or 3 weeks into it, realized we couldn't do it for that amount of money, and said, "Hey, we have to double this." And they said, "Okay," and wrote us another check. So that was idiocracy. And at the same time, we had other contracts, and I think it came down to the fact that we weren't afraid to go after anything, any job. We ended up bidding the Palm Beach airport shortly after that.
I completely forgot about that.
And we went and walked around Palm Beach airport and gave them a bid, and they were like, "Well, we're in a contract or whatever." So we were just always out. We would hit 25 places, storefronts, sunglass huts, anything, and 1 out of 25 wouldn't slam the door in our face, and we'd get to give them a quote, and we'd do free cleans for them. And we were driving around in a 3-cylinder Geo Metro, and with vacuum cleaners, and wearing like nice pants and ties, and it was
so literally bootstrapping away. But unluckily for us, both luckily and luckily, is that we got that contract pretty quick. It was a few months into it.
Yeah, it was way too quick.
Way too soon. And I think I mentioned last week that it kind of hurt us in the long run, because we kind of took it, or what's the word I'm looking for?
We put all of our eggs into that basket.
Yes.
And that basket eventually got squashed by the new guy that worked there that hated us.
Yes.
Which we were good. We cleaned that place well.
Yeah.
They were, it's whatever.
Yeah. So let's go personally. Our characters and personalities are actually very different.
Opposite.
You could say opposite. And I think that's one of the reasons why we work so well together, and why we've remained friends through all these businesses over the last 15 years, is because, well, we actually have a really unique relationship, because we argue for sport,
right,
as we call it.
Yeah.
Where we never agree on anything.
No.
Ever. And I'm pretty sure
sometimes we agree.
And they're not just saying that. This is really truly the case.
Yeah, it literally.
We've almost thrown hands.
In the last month, there was a time I pulled over a car and said, "Get out, this is happening now."
But somehow we pushed through. So why do you think that is? Why do you think, whereas most people, after they start a business, will end up not friends, but we've opened, closed businesses, but remain friends.
Because you have no other friends.
He has me.
I think it comes down to the fact that you compliment me and I compliment you, and we find a balance there. And we've never had contracts written up between us. We've always been pretty loyal to each other. I don't have to worry about, I could give Mike the access, he knows all my passwords. And so if you want to steal from me, it'd be very, very easy to take what little money I have saved up right now and just run away with it. But we've always complimented each other, and we've always been able to help each other out. And trust has been a big factor. And it's the same with Alex. All three of us.
I think we actively try and work towards a friendship. Like whenever there is a disagreement or whatever, like, because there are times that we get annoyed with each other, but we recognize that and still actively like work through that and don't get.
As you're talking right now, I'm actually thinking one of the things I think that has helped us is that there's three of us.
Yeah.
And when there's a disagreement, generally two are going to side with one side and one's going to just be the odd man out.
Yeah.
Because when we make our pedals, there's decisions all the time. What if something doesn't fit right? What if something doesn't look right? What if we want to order this part instead of this one? It saves us money. How do we figure out those disagreements?
And it's literally down to everything. I mean, I had to order some grommets today. We were sitting in the airport, and I was emailing Isaac from Mammoth and asking for these grommets, and Mike was sitting a couple rows away, and I almost got up and I was going to order 25 grommets, which is like I think they're 20 cents a piece, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make the call on this one. I'm going to just make the call. But usually it's one of those things like, because I'll err in the side of, it doesn't matter how much money it is, we need to get it done like today, like right now with duct tape and whatever it takes, like let's just do that. He's always the way that, no, let's engineer it and make it work right and do all these things. So that combination, if it was just me building, like Tapestry, if it was just me coming up with the things and doing them by myself, the product probably wouldn't be as good. But at the same time, if we were waiting on Mike, since when I started the company, he was in Europe for 2.5 months. And so Alex and I started the company. Since that, we would have still been waiting in a lot of ways on a lot of things. So you have to have that combination, I feel.
I think we're definitely all problem solvers too. Like we're all eager to jump in and try and figure something out. If it's like, oh, this pedal isn't working or this thing isn't fitting or whatever it is, there's no trying to.
So there's not one person dragging the other two. Or
and maybe you should tell what Tapestry Audio is, since we were talking about it.
So we talked about it last week, but if you're tuning in for the first time this week, Tapestry Audio is our current business endeavor, and it is a guitar effects pedal company. We have one flagship product, and we're working on 4 more. They're on the website for pre-order right now, tapestryaudio.com. So if you want to see what we're talking about when we say parts for these pedals, tapestryaudio.com. And Alex was a partner in that, but he actually went off to be a contractor. So he got his contractor's license in Florida, is now on his own, and we bought him out. So how we all got here, most recently, is we started the motorcycle dealership. We won't go into it again, but if you want to see how that happened, go to last week's episode. But
Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, Sons of Anarchy. In a nutshell, it was the show Sons of Anarchy. So we started buying and selling
motorcycles.
We started buying and selling Harleys. We all decided we could do this legit if we all put $10,000 in. So we all put $10,000 in, and then things kind of went well, and then they kind of
we started another business while Mike was in Europe, which was, in hindsight, it was a bad decision to do both those things at the same time. But at the same time, now we have Tapestry. That was good. So.
Right.
Well, I think there's a lot of things that played into factor. I think we just kind of got burnt out on working at the church at the same time, and then also trying to do that.
Yeah, they don't know that. So that Lauren and I work for a church, Suncoast Community Church, and at the same time,
Pastor Larry's watching.
Oh, hey, our boss, my father.
Yeah. Hello. So at the same time, we were all working together full time and had 2 businesses on the side, all 3 together. So if that is not friendship and trust, all bundled into one just quagmire.
Literally,
mess.
Pretty much like every second of every day we were together.
Right. So I guess that's what it comes down to. Why we've made it work is because we were good friends first, and then did the business thing, and we have the unlimited trust. So,
real quick though, Kevin R. makes a good point that he's looking forward to a scheduled event during prime time because it reminds him of the good old days when TV was TV, which is such a good point because I never watch live TV now. I TiVo it, or I watch it on Hulu or Netflix. So.
Yeah, good point. So what would we recommend to someone who is thinking about going into business with a friend?
Get a business account.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Run everything.
Here's our biggest mistake we've ever made. We made it over and over and over and over again.
Yes.
Is we get an idea for a business, get super jazzed about it, and then we just go start buying stuff to make it happen. And then the
like Amazon shopping.
Yes.
All day.
We make it happen. We could make a product or a business happen
really quickly. Like Mike will come home and be like, "Well, this is what we did today."
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But it's very difficult to track going backwards where all the money came from, who put money in, who owns what, that sort of thing. So if nothing else, the first thing we would recommend is open up a business checking account and put some money in there. It doesn't matter how much money or anything like that. Just charge all of your business expenses to a debit card that is linked to a separate bank account. If nothing else, do that.
Please do that.
Just learn from our mistakes. If you get nothing else out of this.
Nothing else, just do that.
We've done it
Keep
over and
track
over
of
again.
all of your transactions, like
Yes.
at least in that way.
It will be a nightmare.
Preferably recommend
And back up
some
your
other...
computers.
Yeah, oh yeah, we lost our whole QuickBooks file.
Oh yeah, that was bad. And then preferably some other way, a QuickBooks or some kind of accounting software to, again, track your...
That's all fancy
Expenses.
pants. If you can open an account, then you can track it later.
The other thing with friends too, it gets really difficult. And Mike and I experienced this with the cleaning company when he and I were both working at this. We were serving at Palm Beach Beach Club, and we decided to quit our jobs and start the cleaning company, which Mike had already started. He already had the paperwork done and had it all set up because he was in business classes. And we got to this certain point where we're like, hey, let's quit our jobs and go door to door and do this, which we had no idea what that actually entailed. And we partnered up at that point. Mike didn't have to partner up with me and make me a 50% partner at that point. But I think that's really where we started to bond with our trust.
Right.
And if we hadn't done that, there could have been some animosity that had grown over the years.
Right.
And even with Mike, Alex, and I, we've always been equal shares on that kind of stuff. And been willing to, when I left, I was like, Mike, this is your company. We split it down the middle and I left. And same with Alex, when he left, it was definitely a fair deal for us. We're always looking into each other's best interests. We always know that, you know, if somebody's going to keep working, we want to help them further that. But I can't imagine going into a partnership or business with you and you being like, hey, you're going to be 20%.
Right.
And I'm going to, you know, it just wouldn't have worked in a startup situation if something was rolling possibly. And we didn't have a contract, but we were like...
Which we get told to do all the time. So is that a mistake that we haven't, or is that something you would do in the future, or would you recommend it to other people? I mean, obviously, we have a unique relationship, so for us, it might be different. But
you have to really, really trust those people. I mean, years and years and years. So like I said, I've known Alex since I was 6. I'm 28 now. I've known Mike since I was 13. We played in a band together. Actually, Alex was our sound guy going and playing camps.
Which is really our first business together.
It's true.
Was right before college, we started
You guys heard about the bus.
Yes. So in the RV video, if you go back and watch that, at the very beginning, there's a clip of the bus that we converted into an RV. That was us three and our friend Sean. And so our first business was actually playing church camps, and it went really well. We got paid $2,000 a week. We toured around. Yes, toured around in a school bus. We converted into an RV ourselves and sold merch.
CDs.
Yeah. And we just were like the rock stars of the camp and got paid way more money than we ever should have.
Well, we had our own PA that we saved up for. We were always good about saving, and we always had money to start businesses, like anything we had.
Which is a whole nother element. So all of our business, we've always just put our own cash in. We've never financed, we've never gotten a loan, we've never done any sort of funding or anything like that.
Right.
Which may change in the future, but maybe that has something to do with it, is we are all equal putting our own cash in, and we're all in it the same way, you know?
Right. So we've also looked at that cash that we've put in it the same way, as far as like, this is money that we may never see again, and we're all okay with that.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
we have to be, otherwise, I don't know, like stress creeps in and dissension and animosity.
Oh, for sure. And the other big end of that is not just the money split, but it's the workload split. And that's something that becomes kind of difficult too, because when you're a partner, you can't really delegate sideways, and you can't tell somebody, hey, it's you have to do this and I'm going to do this. And we've had a good working relationship with those things, saying, hey, I'm going to take these areas and you're going to take these areas. And even in times like Mike has his own things going on right now, he's not as involved in Tapestry as I am right now, but we're still 50-50. And I understand that, and I want to work around whatever he's doing, because I know there's going to come a time where I'm going to be able to step away and he's going to be able to step in.
And it's about communication. It's the same thing as the married versus, joint versus separate bank accounts. It all comes down to trust, and it comes down to communication. So Lauren and I obviously have been very busy with this YouTube thing. We've done 3 videos a week now, and we're upping, our content and all that kind of stuff. So I came to Ryan and I said, what are your expectations of me? Because he, at the same time, is getting more involved in Tapestry, and I'm pulling out just a little bit as we're doing this YouTube stuff, and it's not fair. So it's all about communication, talking to each other, asking each other. And ultimately he said, you know, what you're doing now is what I'm looking for you to do. So, I mean, that's great. And if that ever changes, I expect him to tell me.
Yeah.
And
I will.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be honest and you have to be truthful. Go ahead.
Okay, so we have some
Got
questions.
a few comments. First of all, bookkeeper says please in regards to keeping track of stuff. So she's watching.
Yes. But the bookkeeper can't do anything if you don't have a bank account with all the transactions in a nice, easy line. Oh my gosh, you guys, I can't even get into how messy it was.
Yeah,
it was a mess.
Teresa's like, she's the best person in the entire world by far to have taken us on and helped us as she has. Thank you so much for everything. You're incredible.
To brief overview, we put the $10,000 in the dealership and then just moved money from our personal accounts, the business account,
never money back into our personal accounts.
No,
it was just always out.
Loosely kept track of it on like piece of paper.
Very
got
bad.
lost.
Don't do that. Put it all on one debit card.
Yeah, it's not.
What's the next thing?
We've got looking forward to officially starting a personal organizing business. I do some cash projects now, but I would like to make it legit. When I start out, do I need to do bank recs, HST filings?
I'm not exactly sure what that stuff is. You mean bank records? And like, I'm guessing you're asking when should you actually like file with for a business license and with incorporate and all that kind of stuff and get a federal identification number. You might be in Canada or something like that. I'm not sure. But we do that pretty soon, early on in the business, because it doesn't cost much. Honestly, it's $70 to incorporate here in Florida, and it is free to do your federal tax identification number. And so we kind of do that. The bank account, the three things we do before we start any business, or should, is the incorporation, the bank account, and the tax ID number. And Teresa, if you're in the comments and I'm missing something, please put that in there. But yes, I would do it immediately because it's so cheap and it's just protection for you.
Yeah.
Program freeware like New Cash to track your businesses and show us how to use it. I've actually never used New Cash, or New Cash. I'm sure that's New Cash. We've always just used QuickBooks. It was expensive, but it's just what, in fact, you kind of have to. We actually had QuickBooks for the Mac, and we actually had to buy the Windows version and get a virtual software to run Windows on my computer because most accountants won't take even the Mac version. So yes, New Cash and freeware versions are great, but you gotta be careful with that because if you ever want an accountant to take it over for you and do that kind of stuff, they're gonna want Windows QuickBooks, at least in our experience.
So you kind of went over other business administration filings.
This is the only thing holding me back. Business administration filings. Yeah, so we kind of went over that. It's different for each state.
In Canada.
She's in Canada.
Okay, yeah, HST.
Harmonized sales tax.
So,
sales tax. So that depends on the type of business. For Tapestry, we had to do sales tax. Again, Department of Revenues. Everyone's really easy to work with, and most of them have really good customer service, believe it or not. You can actually call them up. In fact, when we were doing like the patent for our guitar pedal, you have a person you can call up. They have a helpline, and they'll talk you through it. We ended up being 2 days on the phone, but they're at least there to help us with it. So. Believe it or not, the government is actually pretty helpful when it comes to customer service and setting this stuff up. Okay, so what else?
Yeah, I mean, just the filings, get the paperwork, get all like licensing, the sales and use tax, doc stamp tax, any kind of thing that you might be using. Ask tax professionals.
It's worth it to put a few $100s into having a professional.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And in fact, we recently met with a mentor that has kind of talked us even more into this before starting a business. And he says, protection, protection, protection. And someone who's done it before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have a comment from somebody that says, what happens when you run out of money?
We asked our dad.
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
Because we've run into this.
We're about out of money.
Yeah. It happens, especially when you...
And it's happened.
Yeah.
It's happened and happening right now. What happens is you can do a couple different things. You can take on, and this has been, most recently we've been talking about this, take on angel investor, which is like a buddy, a friend, a family member, somebody that can come in and give you money, and you give them a percentage back over an agreed upon time. They don't usually take stake in your company. As far as what I know from my little bit of experience with this lately, has been that that's what an angel investor is. And then venture capitalists are more, you come in, you present it, they do this all the time, and they give you the money, but they're going to take a certain percentage of your company. And so you kind of have to go back and forth between those two things. The other way you can do it is credit, or you can do it by, selling your something, selling something.
So the reason why we're out of money is because there's quantity breaks. So we're constantly fighting this battle of, if we want to order another 100 pedals, it's another $10,000. So do we want to order in smaller quantities where every pedal costs us a lot more, or do we order in quantities of 100 or more and we're completely out of cash and we kind of have to just wait till we sell these things until we can keep floating? That's where we're at now. We chose the 100. It may have been a mistake.
Maybe. I mean, it's all how you cut it. Like right now we are cash poor, but we have a lot of inventory, so we're ready to sell. And you can't get into bigger dealerships without having enough product. And so we can't, it's always this balance. And we're still learning about all that. But we don't have any debt. We don't know anybody, anything. If tomorrow we had to shut down everything, we would just have more time on our hands. That's basically what would happen.
And we've also come across the situation of like having to talk to each other and just say, hey, do we need to throw in more money? Are you guys okay with throwing in an extra couple thousand each, and kind of boosting it that way? And again, with the attitude of, that's money that we may never see again.
Yeah, but we have Mr. Cheapy Pants over here. He's got this whole financial blog thing where he doesn't want to spend any freaking money.
So, which is actually kind of funny and also works out that we're all kind of, as much as you make fun of me, we're all on the same page, more maybe to a different extreme than we are. We're not, there's not one person who needs the paycheck from the company. So that kind of alleviates a lot of stress too. Don't go into business with someone who's personally not able to manage their own money.
Yes. That's why Mike is the best business partner. That's what it really comes down to more than anything, is I know Mike is responsible with money. And if you had somebody just, like, I'm definitely more irresponsible, but
I can say the exact same thing for him. It's not, he is, it's best friends.
Thanks.
Yes.
All three of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
And Lauren, she's in the mix. She's fine. Okay, so, again, live show, we didn't have an outline or anything that we had planned. I think we'll end it there. Where are we at 20 minutes, you said?
20 minutes.
Yeah, so we want to end it there. If you guys have any more questions, leave them in the comments after this is over, and then I can answer those, or we can have them come in and answer them in the text below. We have a video coming up Friday about why the rich get richer. So we made that last night and scheduled it for an upload for Friday, so you guys get your video on Friday at 7 o'clock. And then
while we're here, we will be filming some stuff in New York City.
Yeah, so look for some
kind of exciting
videos about New York coming up soon.
We did used to live here, so it's our old stomping grounds, you know.
I think that's it. Thanks, guys. Ryan, Alex.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. TapestryAudio.com is the business. Not to plug it, but if you guys are just curious.
Alex is a
contractor in Florida. If you're in Sarasota, Florida, and you need something built.
What's that called?
Kaufman Construction.
Kaufman Construction.
It's good to know. We should have known that.
Should have known what his business is. Anyways, thanks guys for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
And we are not off.